This is the issue I take with it. Right now, Gen Z support for Israel is 24%. Yeah. Charlie Kirk has been holding meetings to convince Gen Z influencers to support Israel.
Well, why did he turn down $150 million from Netanyahu then?
Didn't want it? I don't know.
I think he was waking up to the fact of what was going on in Gaza.
I think it's silly to argue simultaneously that he had a secret meeting with Bill Ackman in the Hamptons to convince Gen Z to support Israel, and then Israel killed him. So the argument right now on Israel is losing support at a tremendous rate among the younger generation. Charlie Kirk is holding interventions. Like you saw the video where he sat down with these Gen Z guys, and he's like, don't be mad at Israel. And then Netanyahu was like, how can we get rid of this guy who's our greatest advocate for Gen Z? That makes no sense. What honestly makes more sense, we got one super chat. Let me see if I can find this one. Here we go. From Aramoff, he says, Turkey took out Charlie because he spoke against Islam. If we're talking, I don't think either of those are true, but I get the point being made. People are like, Israel killed their greatest advocate among Gen Z. Why would they do that?
Doesn't make any sense.
Well, I think that you put all this money into this man, and you have an investment, and then you're like looking at the last 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks of his life, and you're going, oh, if this man is turning, if he is going to stand up and speak out against what happened in Gaza. I mean, he was on the Patrick Bet-David show saying, like, listen, when I was in Israel, and it took me 45 minutes to get into a chopper and fly across the country. So you're meaning to tell me that for 6 hours that Israel didn't respond to the attacks on October 7th? And he's going, how is that possible? He goes, it's not possible. I want to know, was there a stand down order? So he was really starting to dive in. The Epstein list, too. He's one of the biggest advocates for at least the entire Epstein list.
Why is Fuentes still alive?
Why is Fuentes still alive?
Yeah.
That's a great question. I don't know.
Because maybe Israel didn't kill Charlie
Kirk?
Kirk.
Kidding.
If the argument is that Israel's like, this prominent...
Because Nick Fuentes didn't have the youth at every single university. Charlie Kirk was their biggest ally, and he was literally the one person capable of turning. If he turned against Israel, the entire youth, the last 24% would pretty much evaporate overnight. So you have somebody in a position of power that was literally, I think, gearing up to be in the next presidential run. I think Charlie Kirk could have been the next president.
But look, even that's long term because young people historically don't vote. So even if they don't support Israel, right, you still got the majority of voters in the U.S. are going to be the boomers, people 55 and older. So it'll still take time. Yeah, it'll still take time for that voting bloc to actually have enough influence to change policy.
I think the people who are trying to justify Israel as the culprit are people who, look, Ian Carroll was like, I can't believe we figured out it was Israel right away. And it's like,
when did Ian say that?
I can believe that he figured it out.
That day. He said it's within 24 hours, everyone figured out who the likely suspect was. He said he was their greatest advocate and they killed him. And I'm just like, oh my God, bro.
I've seen Ian's breakdowns on it, and he's been very specific about just sticking with what we do know and what we don't know. I think Ian's done some of the best reporting on this, honestly.
If he says that he says that he figured it out, and his answer is it was Israel.
He wasn't being sarcastic. Like Ian's, I know him personally. He's very sarcastic.
Literally, the following morning, Ian Carroll said, yesterday was a turning point for Israel-U.S. relations. Less than 24 hours, and the internet already figured out who the most likely culprit was. He was their friend. He basically dedicated his life to them, and they murdered him in front of his family. Israel just shot themselves. 11.5 million views. This is Israel derangement syndrome. Tell me Israel's bad, I say fine. Call it a genocide, I say okay. I don't care about Israel. I don't want the U.S. involved in these foreign wars. But literally, before we know anything, you put out this tweet saying Israel did it. This is the problem I have with this stuff.
You knew that Ian was going to say Israel did it before anything else. Like, as soon as he got shot, if you said, what do you think Ian Carroll's going to say? I would have said, Ian Carroll's going to say Israel did it. Like, and then that's his brand.
Then you start getting all of this narrative stuff where it's like, did you know that Charlie Kirk was he was questioning Israel? I saw a video where Charlie asked Ben Shapiro about. Charlie says to Ben, what would you say to someone who describes what's going on in Gaza as a genocide? And then it slowly zooms in on Ben's face and doesn't edit. So Ben goes like, and it's like trying to imply that Charlie had turned on Israel, so they killed him. It is insane. Now, let me just start by saying, is it in the realm of possibility that Mossad was like, we got to take out Charlie Kirk? Well, it's of course, it's reality-based.
Well, he did say likely.
But come on.
100%.
He then said,
saying likely.
He said they murdered him in front of his family. That's what he said. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so I'm like, there's an infinite number of possible suspects and why and who would be upset with Charlie Kirk. You can argue the Qataris did it. Charlie Kirk was the last bastion for defending Israel among the younger generation. So Qatar had it out for Israel, and then they took out Charlie, and that's why Israel bombed Qatar. I can connect the dots in a million and one ways. This doesn't serve our understanding of what happened to just jump beyond Why was the gun there? Was it actually the gun that was used? What's with that weird photo? Why was the message looking all weird? All of those questions are legitimate. And we start from there and we move forward and try and figure out what's going on. The people that are coming out and screaming Israel are making it harder for us to actually break this down and figure out what really happened. This is what I can't stand about the hardcore conspiracy theory stuff. The feds historically would put out fake theories to distract people and throw them off the trail. A really great example, I think, is Pizzagate, where you get this email that says, I forgot, I'll paraphrase, but it was like, is it more fun, is it more fun playing dominoes on pizza or on pasta? And then for no reason, on 4chan, someone posted this thing claiming that it meant boys and girls. And I said, that's not correct. CP does mean child porn, but pizza and pasta, that connection doesn't exist anywhere. It was just made up at some point. I argued, guys, the feds are throwing you off the trail of what's actually going on with these emails that got leaked, which are likely indicative, in my opinion, of doing drugs at high-profile parties. Playing dominoes on pizza and pasta, there's in code words for crack and meth or something like this. What happens? A guy shows up to a pizza place, shoots into the concrete floor, gets arrested, and they say you're all a bunch of crackpot weirdos for believing this, despite the fact we eventually learn the Epstein stuff is true. Their goal is to throw you off the trail with nonsense. What we want to do is we want to look at everything that's been laid out. I think you made a really great point, Ryan, about how the FBI never confirmed 30-6. And then we can question why it is we thought that. Then we can see the ATF report. Someone else pointed out in the chat that
it gives it a bit more credibility.
Someone pointed out, and this is important, someone pointed out in the chat that when that ATF document was leaked, the ballistics had not returned yet on whether or not it really was a 30-6 rifle. It was just the expert opinion of the ATF guys who saw it. In which case,
they release photos of the bullets though?
No, I don't think so.
No.
That was the ICE attack.
Yeah, the ICE attack I know they did, but I thought they released photos of the actual describing of the bullets.
There's a lot we don't know. There's a lot we're speculating on, and there's a lot that I've probably gotten wrong already. But again, someone pointed out that ATF leak came out where they said they found a 30-6, but that was before the ballistics came back.
Yeah.
It's possible they were wrong about 30-6.
And when cases like this happen, right, because I've been at the scene of stuff like this where a case is, breaking, it's huge, it's hitting the news, new information's coming in, facts are changing constantly as you're doing interviews, you're collecting evidence, things change constantly. So yeah, it could have been like, hey, it looked like it was a Microsoft Teams chat or something like that, where they're just in a group chat answering questions, talking to each other, whatever. So, they say the fog of war. Well, the fog of investigation is very real too, and especially in the beginning.
Here's an interesting Patriot super chat. It's saying, I own a World War II Mauser 30-6. The rounds made for those rifles are loaded to lower pressure due to the weaker receiver material technology. This was something I was warned about because I bought an M1A, and I'm not a gun guy, so forgive me. But my understanding is that 308 is basically the same size but a higher pressure.
Yep.
And so they told me only use 7.62 in the M1A because the higher pressure could damage the gun or break it, because M1A is an older technology or something to that effect. So that seems reasonable as well. I'll just put it like this. We are not being told the truth is a fair assessment. I think
Agreed.
A reasonable assessment.
Agreed, yep.
But the government always lies, right? The question is,
or they won't correct you when you make a mistake. That's also very important for people to understand. Like, again, me putting on my agent hat, if crazy things come out and I'm the case agent, I'm like, good, let them think whatever they want.
Right.
I'm going to run my investigation. I have less hindrance. So they're also not going to correct things.
So let's advance a little bit, and then we can take a look at the subsequent terror attacks we've just seen. There was that attack on ICE where the guy had it. What does it look like? 7.62 in a stripper clip. Let me pull this.
Yeah, we can pull up the picture. Yeah, that was nuts too, man.
But 7.62 is just the caliber.
I think
caliber of bullet.
Just to kind of wrap up the whole,
30 caliber,
Charlie thing, which rest in peace to Charlie.
Well, I don't want to stop talking about all
okay,
that stuff.
okay.
I just want to.
Before we switch, all I was going to say is, like, I think people need to keep an open mind, look at all the evidence, don't jump to conclusions, and just go off of what's provable.
I want to keep the conversation on Charlie, but the bigger picture now moves into with this story. You see anti-ICE penned, inked onto these bullets. It looks like there may be potentially some writing right here that you can't see. I'm not sure, but they haven't released any of that, so I'm going to go. It looks like there might be writing here and here, maybe not. You just see the anti-ICE. This is a stripper clip. For those that don't know, it's a thin piece of metal you can slide the bullets into. The left's assessment on the Charlie Kirk assassination anti-ICE is that the feds are staging these things. That, I mean, what did Aaron Rupar say? 3 Reichstag fires in 3 weeks? What the accusation, the left can, so while the right is arguing palm guns, guy in the bushes, dude, trapdoor, whatever, Israel, I've heard some pretty wild conspiracy theories.
Who gave the trapdoor theory?
There's a picture of it.
Okay.
When they started repaving over
broke
the
it?
campus,
Okay.
when they started replacing everything out, there was all of a sudden people saw the trap door. But if you look at the photos of where Charlie was sitting, the trap door was like way off to the left. That theory didn't even make
Does
sense.
that come
to
from
me.
news?
Right, here, look.
Yeah, right
Influencer
there.
or-
Matt, who is the guy's name? Matt Baker shared this photo or this video up originally.
These are utility maintenance access doors commonly used in sidewalks and buildings to provide workers access to electrical and plumbing and infrastructure. They're not trap doors.
No, they're actually for the irrigation. It's actually
really?
common for the irrigation system is why that one was there, I believe.
And it was not even in the same spot where he was.
No, it's like, so Charlie was like way, way off to the right. It just didn't make sense that there would, I don't know. I went down there.
There was like 5 to 10 different theories.
I've tried my best to just disprove as many of these conspiracy theories as I could possibly disprove, and I've just been going through them all one by one.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Culture War podcast. We're live every Friday, 10 a.m. to noon, so subscribe and come hang out.